My lovely, lovely, wonderful, beautiful people, a pleasant Sunday afternoon to you. If you have not yet made Jesus Christ your personal Lord and Savior, please feel free to do so. He's the best being ever. Certainly, that would be the best decision you could ever make. All right, listen to me, beautiful people. I was watching the news last evening, it was, I think, or the evening before. And, the child protection I can never know their names in its entirety. Yes, sorry. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, a representative was speaking as it relates to Rosalie. I don't even remember I think her name is June something or other, as it relates to a comment that she made. I think she had a meltdown online, and she basically was saying, it's like she's saying, and I'm putting it in my words, obviously, like she has a split personality. When her mother take her, she just, well, she feels like, I don't know, she says she mashes and destroys things in the house, even the glass. And sometimes her mind is telling her to just get rid of her own self and to STAB her children and her spouse and just ending it all. Now, if you understand CPFSA, it is a Jamaican executive organization responsible for the care and protection of children in the country, investigating child abuse, providing psychological support, managing children in state care, and strengthening families to prevent child separation. Now, when companies and organizations such as these have to take a child or children from the care of a mother in particular, it means oftentimes, I'm not saying all the time, because sometimes maybe it's somebody being malicious and creating mayhem for the mother, mischief for the mother, but oftentimes there is a broken down or a brokenness that has to be resolved in the family. The mother is probably in a broken state. She needs psychological and psychiatric help. Rosalie have many times spoken about her bad upbringing, her poor upbringing, that she did not get the love from her mother. And if you understand the importance of a love of a mother, you will understand how it shapes the future of that child. Oftentimes you see people is like them now 7 or 11, then 12 now 13, 14 or 15, 16 or 17. It's like they're not being progressive. And oftentimes it's a curse of that poor parenting, that bad parenting or no parenting, that has contributed to the decadence of their own life. Sometimes they may be doing well financially, but psychologically they're not, they're disturbed. A child just does not get up and know how to be a socially fit human being without the guidance of a good parent. I've watched her lives. I have no problem per se with Rosalie. Sometimes I think she gets off a little bit too, like somebody who lacks knowledge. When you're ignorant, when you lack knowledge, and somebody who has very little emotional intelligence, like she doesn't know how to decipher what somebody may be saying sometimes. And I say I can understand because of the bad upbringing that she herself has promulgated to the media. And there was an incident, I think, with her and her mother on one live where it seemed to, I don't know if it had gotten physical, if she had actually got into a physical encounter with her mother in a way that she ought not to have. And when we see these things, we ought to not, it's not just about crying shame, but it's about ensuring for those who know her, getting her the help that she needs. But we live in a world where we bask in negativity. Patti LaBelle, the great singer, had stated that she cannot believe in this 21st century as an 81-year-old woman where she's living to see people rejoicing in the evil, rejoicing in evil. When people are rejoicing in bad things happening to other people, they're actually rejoicing. When Rosalie, sometimes you're watching her, her lives, and it gets very dark and ugly with some of the things that she's saying. I said to myself, my goodness gracious, this is so bad. And it's in the earshot of the children. And it is abusive to them, people. Because she herself says when she gets very angry, she does things. So can you imagine if she's doing some other things online, on live, in front of us, speaking to them very in an abusive manner. Can you imagine when it's not on live? And it is what she knows. She's hurting, she's angry, she's broken, narcissistic. She can't even see that there is a major problem. I hear people saying that she was invited to. I heard when the representative from the Child Protection Agency, Family Life Agency, was saying that they've called her for meetings and she has refused. I was listening to the news. I heard somebody saying that they called her for a meeting, what you call a PTA meeting, and she refused. I don't know if they're saying that she mentioned that she's doing her thing on live. So basically, it's almost like you're saying, I'm doing my life, I can't come. This is more important than my child. In essence, that's how it comes across, allegedly. And I said, wow, if really she did that, it means she really has very low vibrations and low emotional intelligence, and even low intelligence quotient, lacking knowledge. Because had she been knowledgeable and understanding just her life and her situation, she would have realized that, my goodness, my mother wasn't there for me, and I don't want to replicate the same problem that I'm facing on my children. Because we don't even know what they would have said to her, because the representative said that they got numerous complaints, because people will complain. You don't have to know that they will complain and when and what they do, because they only get the complaints, but they don't have anything tangible as yet, until she mentioned what she mentioned when she had the meltdown online, in a sense. And it's not the first I've seen her having a meltdown online, and that is not good for children. I remember Lisa Hannah was saying that she went to a remand center and she was talking with some young girls, and there was a little girl, young girl kind of resting on her shoulder, dropping asleep, in and out. And then the girl just flew up and said, I know how I'm going to get rid of my mother. And she said she was frightened, and she said, what? Why would you want to get rid of your mother? She said, my mother is she didn't use the word abusive. She says she torments her. She treats her so badly. Herbert Gale was doing a study. He went to a summit in 2019 and was talking about the youngsters, the women who commit multiple acts of annihilation, getting rid of people. When you trace it, they were abused by their mothers. He mentioned that they were abused by their mothers. And too many of us have lauded this. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I don't appreciate is that whether you're in church or you're an organ, they will always talk about the wayward child, the wayward child, the wayward child. You have wayward mothers. Why do they keep doing that? As though, this how most times if you see children wayward, it must mean that they come from a wayward family. You keep saying the wayward child, the wayward child, the wayward child. You have wayward mothers. We don't speak on a balanced, we don't give balanced or have balanced conversations, real conversations, simply because maybe many people are mothers and they don't want it to hurt your ego to know that you're a bad mother, poor mother, a mother who has not done well in the life of the child. Many mothers are abusive. Back in the days, they would tell you, may we kill. They may not necessarily, hopefully, I have to say the word hopefully, I've meant it literally, but that was an abusive comment. We took it as a joke, as people, and said, boy, I grew up here in bad. I said, then with this and that, and you kick out the whole of your teeth. And, those are abusive talks. And we lauded and praised abuse until it has got to this stage. That is why you have so many women and even men who are broken, who are narcissistic, who are arrogant because of the pain and the abuse that they encountered when they were younger. Not just physical, but verbal, mental, psychological, financial. When they see people like Rosalie and other people behave this way, they should say, Rosalie, if you don't get help, we're not going to support your thing anymore. Had that been happened, then she would not have been in this state. Because after a while, it's going to break her even further to know that, oh my God, my children are really not here. Or if they're older, they become distant and they abandon her in her time of need. We have to clamp down on bad parenting. It is time for us to clamp down on it, guys. Anyway, you know what to do with TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe. Give me one of those lions. Thank you.